Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is the Bookish Life of Laura. My name is Laura, and today I'm wrapping up my April reading month as well as the Owl's Magical Readathon. So this month, oh my god, I had the best reading month that I have had in literally years. Like, I have not read this many books in this short amount of time in so freaking long, and I'm so happy about it. So let's get into the stats first. I read a grand total of 3,242 pages. I am so proud of myself. I read 12 books and DNF'd 1, which included 5 ebooks, 4 audiobooks, and 4 physical books, 7 of which I got off of Scribd. 1 of them I got from my library. 4 of them I already owned, and 1 of them I borrowed. And for genre breakdown, I read 7 fantasy novels, 2 romance, 2 sci-fi, 1 contemporary fiction, and 1 non-fiction book. 6 of those books were for adult audiences, and 7 of them were for young adult audience. So all of those stats include the book that I DNF'd, but for my star rating, it does not include that. I do not give DNFs a star rating. So this month I had 1 5-star read, 6 4-star reads, 4 3 stars, 1 2-star, and 0 1 stars. The longest book that I read was tied at 352 pages for Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller and the Bromance Bookclub by Lyssa K. Adams. And then the shortest book that I read was Fence Volume 1 by C.S. Pacat, which was 112 pages. So those are all of my stats for the month. So for the Owl's Readathon, I was going for the librarian career path, which meant that I had to take the exams for Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, History of Magic, and Transfiguration. And then I was also wanting to do the Animagus training as well as the Merpeople Linguistics course, which made me have to add on potions as well as herbology. I was successful in getting all of my prompts done for both my career and my extra course, and then, if you guessed it, because I read 12 books this month, I actually ended up finishing all of the Owl's prompts. I did all 12 of them. I'm very happy about that. I didn't think that I'd be able to, but I did, and I'm very pleased. So I'm gonna get into the reviews, starting with Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This was the first book that I read this month. This book tells the story of Achilles and Patroclus as they grow up, fall in love, and go to war, and just their life together throughout the war. I thought this one was gonna be more romance than it was. Whenever I would hear people talking about it, it was always how it was a beautiful love story, so I was expecting it to be mostly romance, which, like, the romance was there, but not nearly as much as I thought it would be. I didn't dislike it, it just wasn't what I was hoping it would be. So I ended up giving that one a 3-star. I also found Achilles to be pretty annoying and like entirely unlikable towards the end. And I didn't understand why Patroclus loved him that much. I also thought that he deserved way better, to be honest. Like, Patroclus gets you a better man. Like, goddamn. Jesus. And that was my owl for Defense Against the Dark Arts, which was to read a book set at the sea or coast. Next up is Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells. This is book 3 in the Murderbot Diaries series. I freaking love this series so much. I'm not going to go into it very much because I have already talked about this series like a million times on this channel, so I don't want to bore you guys to death with it. But if you haven't watched any of my videos previously, the Murderbot Diaries series is about an AI robot who has hacked his own system to go rogue with the only intentions of being able to watch trashy TV shows and be left alone. So book 3 was just as good as the other 2 were. I loved it. That's all I can say, really. This one I gave 4 stars, and it was my prompt for potions, which is to read a book under 150 pages. Yes, it's 158 pages, but it's close enough, so whatever. And then I read Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. Oh, this one was so cute. I picked it up on a whim. This was my owl for Transfiguration, which is to read a book about shapeshifting. For this one, I was going to read Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, but I was really in the mood for something really light and fun, and I was not in a fantasy mood for a while there in April, so I just picked this up on a whim, and it was so cute. I read it in like 2 hours and absolutely adored it. This book is about a young witch and a non-binary werewolf who rekindle their childhood love after the werewolf character moves back to town. However, everything is not happiness and rainbows because there are some evil forces at play. There's a demon and people trying to control said demon for their own evil purposes, and so it's up to our two main characters as well as the one character's grandmothers to stop it from happening. This book was just such a delight. I really loved it. It is very simple, like there's not much substance to it, I guess, which is fine. Like I wasn't really expecting there to be. It's a very short book, and I was going into it wanting something very quick and light and easy, and that's exactly what I got. So I was very happy with it. This one ended up getting 5 stars for me. I thought it was so friggin' cute, and the art style is gorgeous as well. It was absolutely stunning, and I will definitely be reading more if there will be more books in this series. I would like that, please. I then read Wasted Words by Staci Hart. This one is an adult contemporary romance novel and was my prompt for astronomy, which was to read a book mostly at night. It follows a book nerd and a sports star who are roommates and best friends, and of course they end up falling in love. She is the owner at a bookstore slash cafe, and it comes with a whole cast of wonderful characters and fantastic friendships. So for this book, I did post a rant review video, so I'll link that down below. I don't want to get into it here because I will start yelling again, but I hated this book. The short version of my rant review, basically it started off very strong, but then there ended up being some really bad representation for mental health, specifically anxiety, and I was so mad about it that it went from a 5-star down to a 2-star. So yikes. Next up was The Paper Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg. This was my prompt for Ancient Runes, to read a book with a heart on the cover, and this one follows a young girl named Suzanne who has just graduated from essentially magic college. So Suzanne is brought to the home of magician Emery Thane, where she will learn magic under him for the next 2 to 6 years, depending on how well she does. And she very quickly learns to love paper magic. That is until somebody from Emery's past breaks into their home and steals the heart out of his chest. Suzanne only has a few days to go find the person and rescue his heart from her until the magic wears off and Emery dies. So Suzanne must embark on this very long journey and ends up having to go into the chambers of his literal heart in order to save him. Like, she literally is put into his heart through magic. It was wild. I enjoyed this book. It wasn't like great by any means. Like it's very, very simple. The plot is super predictable and kind of repetitive. The writing isn't amazing either, but it is very fun. It's definitely entertaining. It's a wild ride from start to finish, and it's very quick as well. It was like a 220-page book, so it's very short and easy to get through. So I did enjoy it, and I will be carrying on with the series, but it's not like amazing, to be honest. My main issue with it though is the romance. It's not really a spoiler because the book is labeled as a romance on Goodreads, but Suzanne gets a crush on her teacher, Emery Thane, and I don't like that kind of relationship. It's very uncomfortable to read. I don't think it's appropriate. And it would be fine if it was just like, if she just had a crush on him, but it kind of alludes that Emery might feel the same way, and it's just very uncomfortable. I knew that there would be romance going into it. It just didn't cross my mind that it would be a student-teacher romance. And if I had known that going in, I wouldn't have read it, to be honest. But here we are, so So this one ended up getting a 3 stars. After that, I read Magic for Liars by Sarah Gailey, which was a gem of a book. I loved it. It was my prompt for herbology, which was to read a book that starts with M. This book follows a private detective who's asked to work a murder case at the school where her sister works. However, she and the sister are not on speaking terms, and they haven't been for a very long time because our main character resents her sister for being magic and getting to go study and eventually work at this magic school and be all cool and awesome. Meanwhile, human over here gets nothing. But our main character needs the money, first of all, and also wants the chance to see what her sister's magical life looks like, so she agrees to go and help solve this case. It was so freaking good. Oh my god, I love this book so much. I really love how Sarah Gailey writes stories. I think that they're just a genius with storytelling, and this one was no exception. It was just so fantastically done, and I cannot wait to read more of their books. This book gave me the same feeling that the show Scream did. In that show, as well as in this book, you suspect literally every single character. Like, everybody seems suspicious. it could be anybody, and so because of that, when it's actually revealed who it is, it's genuinely a shock. I thought that it was so well done, and it actually surprised me who it was. I was so happy about it, and I gave that book a 4.5 star. Next up is The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa K. Adams. This one was so good. I love this one. This was my owl for arithmancy, which was to read a book outside of your usual genre. So this is a adult romance novel, which I do read sometimes. I've like started to get more into it, but my normal genre is fantasy, so this definitely works. This book follows one of Nashville's top baseball stars as his marriage is crumbling around him, and he is desperately trying to save his marriage because he loves his wife so much. And so his friends realize what's going on, and they invite him to join their secret book club where they read romance novels written by women for women in order to learn how their wives actually want to be treated. This book is so freaking cute. Oh my god, I loved it. I adored this book. I thought it was so sweet. It's just this group of like hyper masculine alpha male dude bros trying to teach each other how to get rid of toxic masculinity and learn how to be vulnerable and share their emotions and communicate properly, like not just with their wives but also with their friends as well. And I just thought that it was so good. It was just really wholesome. Within the first 2 or 3 pages, our main character is on the bathroom floor trying not to cry, and his friend is just like, you can cry, man, it's okay, there's no shame in crying, and he just like lets loose and bawls, and it's so cute. I love it. I also love this one because the main character has a stutter, and I have literally never seen that in a book before. I personally have a stutter, so I really appreciated seeing it in this book. It was very prevalent, and I thought that it was very well done and just a really nice bit of rep that I wasn't expecting, and I'm so happy about. This one got a 4 star from me. I then read The Glass Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg, which is the sequel to The Paper Magician. This was my prompt for History of Magic to read a book about witches or wizards. I won't go into the plot because it would be spoilers for the first book, but it starts a couple of weeks, I think, after the event of the first book. This one I thought was better than the first book in terms of the plot. It was a lot more interesting, less predictable, and the writing was slightly better, not by much. But the issue is that they're getting more into the romance, so it still didn't get a super high rating, but I did give it higher than the first book, and it left at a 3.5 star. Next up is Fence Volume 1 by C.S. Pacat, which was my prompt for Muggle Studies to read a book from the perspective of a Muggle. This is a graphic novel about a young guy trying to make his way as a pro fencer, but because of financial issues growing up, he's never actually had a proper trainer. So while he has a whole lot of natural talent, he does not have very much technical skill, which he learns during a tournament where he gets his ass thoroughly kicked by somebody who he swears that he will one day beat. He makes this guy his arch nemesis and makes it his life goal to beat him at least once. So he enrolls in a school that has a very good fencing team, only to find that his arch nemesis is also at this school now.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
So the first book is mostly just like establishing backstory and establishing characters and friendships, and it's basically just like set up for what's to come. So it was kind of boring, to be honest. There wasn't a whole lot happening, but it was good. It was okay. It was also very dramatic. I think because I used to watch a lot of like sports anime and sports manga, that I kind of knew the formula and I expected it to be like very over the top dramatic. So like it was normalized to me, but I have seen people talking about how dramatic it was is very off-putting to them. So I think this is mainly for people who enjoy sports anime, because that's just like completely normal behavior in sports anime that I didn't even bat an eye at how dramatic it was. But yeah, it was just okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was good. I think it'll get better later on, but the first volume was pretty much just set up for better things to come. Next up, for Care of Magical Creatures, which was to read a book that has a creature with a beak on the cover, I read The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This was a reread for me. I'm sure I don't need to go into the plot, but if you somehow don't know what this book is about, this is a YA dystopian novel about a country that live in 12 different districts, all very strictly regulated by the government, and once a year they're forced to give up one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to go to the annual Hunger Games, which is a fight to the death. I first read this series back in 2012, And I didn't love the first book back then. I loved the second two, but the first one was like just okay for me. But this time around, I adored it. I actually liked it more now than I did when I was 15, which I did not think would happen. I thought that reading it again as an adult, I would see that it's maybe not very good, but I actually really enjoyed it. And like, yes, the writing is very, very simple. There's, you know, it's not like outstanding writing or anything, but it is a really interesting political story. And I think when I was 15, I did not give a damn about politics, either in real life or in books. I was purely in this series for the romance, whereas now I am more in it for the politics, like actually only in it for the politics. I don't care about the romance at all. So I'm getting way more out of it now than I was when I was younger, and I'm just having such a good time rereading the series in preparation for the new book coming out in a couple of weeks. I can't wait for. So I can give this one 4 stars. Next up was Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine. This one I gave 4 stars, and it was my prompt for Charms, which is to read a book with a white cover. This is a collection of essays and poetry all about what it's like to be Black in modern day America and the racism that they face. So with books that deal with issues of race, I do not like to leave my thoughts or opinions because I'm a white person and my thoughts and opinions really aren't needed on this topic. So I do encourage you guys to go and read or watch reviews from people who can actually relate to what this book is about. I cannot do that, and so I'll just leave it at that. And then the final book that I read in April was 1,000 Beginnings and Endings by Ellen O and Elsie Chapman. This was my prompt for divination, to use a random number generator on your TBR. This book was gorgeous. Oh my god. It's a collection of short stories all about various different Asian myths and legends. There are 15 different stories in this book. All of them are gorgeous. Like literally all of them. There were of course a few in here that I liked less than others. That's inevitable in any short story collection. But even the ones that I didn't like as much, I still liked them. Like there weren't any that I outright disliked, which is shocking. Like that never happens for short story collections. But for this one, it was just amazing. They were all so beautifully written, and I'm so glad that I read this. Oh my god, it was beautiful. It had just really whimsical writing. Most of them were very descriptive, and all of them were super unique. They were all retellings of the myths, and so the authors really took some liberties and just made them into whatever they wanted to. They were like, there was one about androids, there was one about a ghost festival in Arizona. Like, they were so unique and all so vastly different, but all incredibly beautiful, and I cannot recommend this book enough. It was amazing. And this one got a 4.5 star from me. And that is everything that I read for the month of April, and also wraps up my Owls Readathon. I'm so happy with how this month went, and so glad that I did the Owls Magical Readathon. This was my very first readathon ever, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed seeing everybody's photos and like watching everybody participate. It was a really good time, and I will definitely be doing future ones. I'm actually planning on doing 2 readathons in May, so that'll be fun. So for this month, my favorite read was tied between Magic for Liars and 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, and my least favorite read was definitely Wasted Words by Staci Hart. So that about does it for my monthly wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I added a few more stats and things that I did from last month, but again, I'm still very new to YouTube, so next month might look completely different again. If there are any stats that you'd be interested in seeing, let me know down below and I'll include them next month. But that'll do it for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!